Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Skmei 9133. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing a Pagani Design PD 1766, homage to an Omega Speedmaster 57. And Greg was wearing my Porster, homage to a Rolex Hulk. Gregory went to the Natural History Museum and said he saw a Wookiee mammoth. I said, "You mean woolly mammoth?" He said, "No, it was black Kyrgyzstan, and he is one mammoth Wookiee." All right, let's take a look at the watch. The watch did not come in a box. Most of these Skmeis do not. I think I could have got a box if I paid an extra buck, but what was the point? I'd rather save $1. I've had quite a few Skmeis on my channel. They make watches in what I consider to be the ultra affordable range, and I paid around $15 for this watch after taxes. When I unboxed this watch, I mentioned that the red, white, and blue colors made me feel patriotic. One of my viewers mocked me for this because he said the colors were literally the French flag. Well, it turns out we were both wrong, and if you go to the AliExpress ad for this watch, the first headline is British style. So the red, white, and blue are the colors of the Union Jack. Since both of my grandmothers were of British descent, and I've watched every episode of Blackadder and Monty Python's Flying Circus, I shall wear this watch, sip a cup of tea, and open a tin of biscuits. If this particular colorway is not your thing due to national origin confusion, there is another one with the red stripe down the middle, which looks much more like the Union Jack. If you don't want to be associated with the US, Great Britain, or France, there is the blue stripe down the middle that looks Norwegian. If you say no way to Norway, there are two other colorways with matching straps. The watch is 40.3 millimeters if you measure at the bezel, 47.3 millimeters lug to lug. It's 15.3 millimeters thick if you count the double pass NATO, 12.7 millimeters without it. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 57 grams on supply NATO strap. The first thing I always do after I give the dimensions of a watch is to tell you about the bezel. So let's check out the bezel action. And there is none. This bezel does not spin. It is fixed. So you basically have a dive style timing bezel that doesn't do anything. But then again, this is a $15 watch. And if you did have a bezel that actually worked, the action would be all mushy. Then we have the dial. The dial has the blue, white, and red that matches the strap. So that's kind of a nice touch. And all the other colorways match their corresponding strap also. Then we have the Skmei name up top, and there's no mention of Quartz on the bottom. You don't have to mention Quartz when you see it tick once a second. And then you have the chapter ring with the minute markers, and then you have the indices. You have Rolex style with an upside down triangle at the 12. Then you have, actually the majors are more Seiko style. They're ovals and not batons, but then you have dots everywhere else. Then you have a date at the 3, and there is a window, but no cyclops. Then you have the hands, and they're your Rolex style with the fence post minute hand, Mercedes hour hand, and a loomed lollipop second hand. The crown is unsigned. Of course, Skmei doesn't have a logo, so what would they do? Put an S on there? And it's a push-pull. You don't get screwed down with 30 meters of water resistance. But the thread action is actually decent. And watch this. You go to press it in. Oops. Okay, go to press it in, and you don't get that annoying minute hand jump. As long as you're not just totally going crazy with it. As long as you're just a little bit careful, it doesn't jump. So that's always nice. And then we have a domed mineral glass crystal. And as you can see, it's single dome because there's quite a bit of distortion there. And then we have the case. It's a chrome plated alloy, shiny everywhere. And it's your basic oyster shape. And then let's look at the case back. The case back does look like a screw down, but those little notches are fake because you If you look right there, you see the little slot for the pry bar. It's a pop-off. And it does give you the battery code, so you know which battery to get. And then water resistant 30 meters. And it says Skmei 9133. Perfectly fine case back for a watch in this price range. I'm not going to pop the case back off to show you the movement, and I don't know what type it is. Obviously, if it was Japanese, they'd probably brag about it. The simple fact that it doesn't have that annoying minute hand jump when you press in the crown, I'm sold on this watch movement. Then we have the strap. As you can see, the strap matches the dial. It's a NATO, and every colorway has a strap that matches their different dial. It's a nice enough strap. It's a little thin, and it's not exactly substantial, but it's not crap either. And it doesn't look like the holes or the notches are fraying or anything like that. So I like the strap. It only has one keeper and it's fixed, but it's easy to use. There's not much to the buckle, but this is not a heavy watch. You do not need a super secure buckle, so I'm fine with that. Here is the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. Looks and wears nice. It's nice and light, and the strap is comfortable. I only have 2 notches left though, so you're not going to be able to wear this if your wrist is bigger than 8. Of course, though, there is room to poke a few more holes in this strap if you really wanted to bad enough. And of course, you don't want to put it on a different strap, because the whole appeal of this watch is the fact that the strap matches the dial. Here we are in the lume room. Watches in this price range are not going to have good lume, but we'll test it anyway. Sometimes there are exceptions. As we see at the time, everything starts out not too bad, but as time goes by, this lume doesn't have any legs and starts to run out fairly quick. This is not an exception. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the fact that the strap matches the dial. I think that's a nice touch. And I like the fact it doesn't have super loose crown action, so you can actually set it without an annoying minute hand jump. What are my gripes and groans? The bezel doesn't turn. The lume is really bad. And the strap is a little short. I only had 2 notches left. Do I recommend this watch? Sure. Even though the timing bezel is just for show, the rest of the watch makes up for it with the fun colors. Whether or not it is July 4th, July 17th, or the 5th of November, you will be appropriately dressed wearing this watch. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Skmei 9133, and I will be back with another review. More than likely that Pagani design I'm wearing right now. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.